Federal government of Nigeria, more news. The federal government is built to take delivery of 22 power transformers and mobile stations from Germany between November this year and May of next year. President Buhari gave an indication to this effect when he played host to officials of Siemens Energy at the State House in Abuja. The president said, quote, "I have been reliably assured that 10 power stations, transformers, and 10 mobile substations, rather, would have been completely delivered and installed by May 2023. And I think we also got Siemens Energy CEO Christian Birch at the State House.
My team is fully committed also to be in person here in the country and then to resolve the matters on the ground, to push in the next couple of weeks and months really as much forward as is still possible. As you know them probably anybody better than anybody else, there are these three phases, and we are really striving to get the phase 1A finalized now as fast as possible to make sure that we can really build this backbone of the energy system.
All right, to get into some of this week's top business headlines with me, we have Dr. Teriba, who is economist, Round Economist, CEO, Economic Associates. Dr. Teriba, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much
to be here,
for joining us.
Thank you.
So I think the big story is the budget, is it not? I mean, want to get your thoughts on, you know, the borrowing, the revenue projections, the expenditure. How do you see things?
The big story is the breakdown provided on Wednesday by the Honorable Minister for Finance and Budget and National Planning.
Yes.
The overall figures had been proposed by the President, but she provided some, useful details as to where things are in 2002, where we are about now, though her figures ended in August, in terms of the realities of revenue. We got revenue a little above, a little below 4.5 trillion.
Yes.
Up to August, which means we are going to be ending the year, with, let's say a little over 6 trillion.
Yes.
If you, look at 4.5 trillion as 2/3.
Yeah.
Now, compared to the 9 trillion projection, 9.73 projection in 2023, that will be a huge jump.
Yes.
So the realism, that you can glean from where we are currently with the revenue is that best we can hope for next year is another 7 trillion or so in revenue.
Yes.
Well, you've got fund a budget of 20 trillion. Already the president has told us, that 6.3 trillion of that is going to be on debt service.
That's correct.
So you are left with a 14 trillion non-debt spending. If you take that out of the likely 7 trillion revenue, you have 1 trillion left against the 14 trillion.
Yep.
So a major issue at the conversation, with the Honorable Minister is, you can run deficit of any type. I think that's the residual issue on the table.
Yeah.
But the issue that could lead to a problem is how you finance the deficit. And the president is saying that 10.5 trillion of the 10.7 trillion, 7 trillion deficit will be funded by borrowing. When we already have a third of the spending going on debt, the interest payment, 2/3 of the revenue as projected by them going on interest payments. We should be careful about that. There should be other options apart from debt.
Okay.
Big corporates, nobody's going to, you can always have deficits.
Yes.
But jumping trying to fund 97% of it with debt, when you already have a debt cost, problem that is robbing us of, fresh revenues, has to be reconsidered. Fortunately, these are proposals.
Yeah.
They're still before the National Assembly. They can still be, modified. So the suggestion is government should consider funding part of that deficit with equity.
Okay.
The Nigerian capital market has an equity segment that is bigger than the bond segment.
Okay.
So planning to wholesale issuance of bonds to the exclusion of equity, government has to rethink that. Governments around the world now issue more equity than debt. They now boast of their success in equity issuance, both locally and abroad. Abroad, it's called FDI.
Yeah.
So each of the leading developing countries today beat their chest, about their openness to FDI, about their success in receiving a FDI.
Yeah.
So Nigerian government shouldn't miss the opportunity. This budget is the statement of our intentions, the statement of our plans over the next 1 year. And we are planning to issue just debt. We have no plans to issue equity. I think we should encourage the government to announce a plan to issue equity.
Okay.
We want to issue some of the debt on the Eurobond market. Yeah, our debt issues tend to be oversubscribed.
Yeah.
But I am suggesting that so would our equity issues. So if the international community is ready to underwrite your debt, they should also be ready to buy your equity. The problem arises when you don't offer them equity. When the only offer you put on the table
is debt. Dr. Teriba, I want to quickly get your thoughts because we've about a minute to go. The transformers, the substations, the Siemens delivery by May of next year. Are you hopeful that we can get some improvement in electricity generation if and when that happens?
Yeah, we have to believe the announcement as made by the government on the planned delivery. And let's hope, the set dates don't shift.
Also, very quickly, Moody's, how do you feel about the banking sector? Because you mentioned, raising funds and so on and so forth. But as far as the ratings agency, Moody's, saying that the foreign exchange outlook might be a headwind for some of the banks under its review. Do you share that concern?
Very good. Now, placing the banks under review for downgrade is not a downgrade.
Okay, right, that's correct.
So it's under consideration. And the main reason they gave, shows that it's arising out of no fault of any of the banks.
Right.
This is arising out of macroeconomic uncertainty, ability of the government to honor foreign exchange obligations.
Gotcha.
And the potential stability or otherwise of the exchange rate of the naira. It comes down to the budget. It comes down to, if you diversify your financing source, you don't restrict, you make sure you have a financing mix that accommodates especially equity, in addition to debt that we've issued for the past 8 years. We mentioned FDI already. So the solution to the fiscal crisis is also the solution to the forex crisis. Because what you're saying is that government puts some extra energy into the attraction of foreign direct investment. That translates to increase in foreign reserves, which boosts the ability of the central bank to supply foreign exchange. And it stabilizes the naira, which is the root, the Indias of this world, the Brazil,
facing as well.
Egypt is following suit.
Dr. Teriba, we'll have to have you back to talk more about this. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on Business Week. Dr. Teriba, a renowned economist, also CEO of Economics Associates. Thank you so much, sir.